Greetings, Universal Orlando fans. It's time for the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast with me, your host Lee, and joining me as always, my good lady wife, Tracy.
Hello, lovely people.
And our good friend reporting live from Ocala, Florida, Hunter.
Well, that's nice. I'm live. Hello, we are having terrible weather down here. You might be picking up some thunder in the background, but hopefully it doesn't distract you from the Sunshine State.
I'm sure it won't. It's actually good to hear it a bit different. It's quite cool, actually.
It is.
I feel like the Count from those old Sesame Street.
One, boom.
Yeah, I've got like the thunder and the bats behind me.
Right, so housekeeping for this week. Well, there isn't really much, to be quite honest, but we have something I think needs mentioning.
Yes, we do. It's official. We've reached double figures for our episodes.
Yeah, I haven't been apart since the very beginning, but it's definitely worth celebrating.
It is. It's technically we're 12 episodes in, but officially this is episode 10. So, yep, that's pretty much it, to be honest. So, well done, guys. Hunter, I know, like you say, you haven't been part of it right from the start, but you're part of it now. So, hopefully, we'll be here for at least another 10.
Oh, yeah. And they said it wouldn't last.
And they said it wouldn't last. Right. Do you guys want to let everyone know what they can expect on this show?
Yep. Well, the show will begin as usual with this month's news.
We then have a special guest, Jim Hill from Jim Hill Media, who will be joining us to discuss the theme park the Islands of Adventure nearly became, as well as a few other tidbits.
He certainly did, and I have a feeling he could have gone on a lot longer if he didn't have to go to a wedding the next day. But yeah, it was brilliant.
Yes, we could have listened for a lot longer as well.
Certainly could.
There's something about the man's voice that is just mesmerizing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you can just sit there and just listen to the man talk all day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think we may well again at some point. But anyway.
Fingers crossed. Yes.
It was a lovely interview, though.
It was.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, once we've gone through all of that, we'll end the show with emails and usual way to keep in touch and be part of the show.
Now, before we go on with the rest of the show, I've got something I would like to say.
I'm a bit worried now, what?
Because as of today, isn't actually today, but the 5th of August.
Right.
Tracy, I would like to wish you happy anniversary for yesterday.
Oh, well, actually, for yesterday, I was going to say, so our anniversary is the 4th.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Happy anniversary too, sweetheart.
Oh, happy anniversary.
11 years together.
Yeah, I really deserve a medal.
So, right.
Or an alibi.
Anyway, right, let's get on with the rest of the show. Tracy, would you like to take it away with our first news story?
Yeah. So we need to head over to the Wisdom World for this first item. Popular drink, pumpkin juice, is now available online. So the pumpkin juice, along with other items, is available from universalorlando.com. These items are chocolate frogs, sherbet lemons, dark mark lollipops, and sugar quills. Now, as with most things that you buy online, it's going to cost you. So the pumpkin juice, which only comes in 4 packs of 16-ounce bottles, will cost you about $23.96, and that doesn't include shipping and handling.
So what does that work out at? Probably about $8 a bottle with your shipping and stuff. How much is it in the parks, Hunter? Do you know?
I want to say it's like $6 or $7.
So it's not more.
No.
But then you don't know what the shipping and handling's going to be.
No.
I'm just interested in knowing how many people actually went and ordered this.
Because I assume a 16-ounce bottle's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a good-sized bottle, and it has a neat little topper.
Yeah, they are quite cool. So that's quite expensive, but I suppose for people who want to try it, who can't get there.
Yeah, if you're that desperate, you can't wait.
Yeah. Have you had some, by the way, Hunter?
I haven't had any of that. We tend to stick with the main beverage.
The butterbeer.
Yes.
The butterbeer.
So we'll be trying it when I get over
Absolutely. I want one of the bottles, if nothing else.
there.
So would you rather have a mug or a bottle?
Both.
I said or. You got to pick either.
Mug.
Okay, that's what I
I'll have the bottle then.
You know, the Hogshead has its own special mug as well.
All right.
Because they have a special Hogshead brew there. which is alcoholic.
Oh, there's Tracy's
and it comes in a special hogshead mug. So that's a neat little thing, I guess.
Excellent.
So carrying on from the Wizarding World, I shall go with the second story. And Universal have recently announced that they are going to be hosting a special event which will take place from Friday, November the 11th to Sunday, November the 13th. And it is a celebration of the Harry Potter movies. And it's actually hosted by Warner Brothers, but being held at Universal, and it's a feature 3 days of cast member and filmmaker appearances, autograph signings, question and answer sessions, and film screenings. So during this special event, guests can celebrate their favourite memories and stories of Harry Potter with filmmakers, cast members, and fellow fans. While all the theme park guests will be able to enjoy the Wizarding World of Harry Potter during their visit, only a limited number of guests and those who buy special event packages will have access to exclusive benefits such as a spectacular evening gala in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, autograph signings with stars from the Potter films, which I don't know if anybody knows if anybody's been announced yet.
I haven't heard anything.
Hunter?
It'd be quite a disappointment not to see the main trio there, I know that much.
Yes, that would be, yeah. But I think with Warner Brothers being part of it, I think you can guarantee they'll be there. I know J.K. Rowling's not going to be.
I'm not really surprised, though.
So it's got question and answer sessions with Harry Potter filmmakers and cast members along with the creators of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. There will be screenings of all 8 Harry Potter films. And access to these screenings can be added to the vacation package for an additional fee. So throughout the 3-day celebration, guests will also be able to explore the Wizarding World, where the wonder, excitement and adventure of the Harry Potter films comes to life. Blah, blah, blah. So the packages that they're currently offering, there is the Premier Vacation Package, which starts at we'll go back over. Celebration Vacation Package, which starts at $369 per person, and that's 4 nights accommodation at a Universal Partner Hotel, a 3-day ticket to both Universal Orlando theme parks, more time to enjoy the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with early park admission starting at 6 a.m, reservation to 1 in-park Harry Potter talent Q&A session, 1 per person, and a commemorative pin, 1 per person, plus the Harry Potter Blu-ray set, 1 per package. Then there's the Premier Vacation Package, which starts at $699 per person, which includes all of the above, plus reservation to 1 in-park Harry Potter cast member autograph session, admission to the exclusive nighttime gala event held on Sunday, November the 13th, and a breakfast at the Three Broomsticks. So for more information about the event and vacation packages, visit www.universalorlando.com/celebration. Now, we all heard that we're actually recording this on Monday. They went on sale on the 31st of July. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Yes.
That the Premier... Is it the Premier ones that have gone?
Yeah.
That's what I read, yeah.
Premier package. So the most expensive ones are the ones that have sold out already. That does surprise me.
And do you know what? I actually think for $330 more, you're not getting a lot more, really. Okay, you got the exclusive.
No, you're getting like breakfast and a dance.
Yeah.
And the autograph session.
Yeah. 1 in-park Harry Potter cast member autograph session.
Yeah, for $330 for double, virtually.
Yeah, 330. You're right. You are right. Yeah, I wouldn't stump up that.
I mean, the $369. If I had money to just blow, it doesn't seem that bad to me.
Not the.
I get all the movies on Blu-ray, which would cost $100.
Yep.
I get a 4-night accommodation, which no telling how much that is.
Well, what are the partner hotels? I know the DoubleTree's one, isn't it?
Yeah. Top of my head, I can't think.
I think so, yeah.
We're
talking about the DoubleTree right before you go in?
Yeah, the one we're hoping to stay at next time.
Yeah, you got the commemorative pin.
That's worth about $20.
No, but it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
There's only going to be, 1 per person.
Put it this way, an extra 2 hours in the Wizarding World at first thing on a morning. That's got to be worth quite a bit.
The 3-day ticket. I think the $369 is.
I'd be interested
quite good value, actually.
To see how many of the Premier packages they actually had that it sold out that quickly.
5.
It could have been. They've made a big deal that they've sold it out, yet they were only selling 5, 10, 20, whatever. You don't know, do you? But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. For $300 more, I don't think what you're getting there is worth it. You get breakfast and 3 broomsticks anyway.
Hopefully, if anybody listening has booked the premiere vacation package, I do hope we're wrong. Please come and tell us if we are.
It just seems, you're right, a lot of money for not a lot more.
But you pay what you're paying. It's, if I can get my words out, a person will pay that much money if they think it's worth it. Do you know what I mean? It's,
absolutely. It's
like with anything, it's what the value is.
It's a matter of opinion, but I think all three of us are kind of like, that's a bit much for not, for what you're getting, that's double of what you're already paying.
I would want breakfast with a cast member.
Yeah.
For that.
There's either... I forgot what I was going to say now. You would expect something like that. The cheaper packages are usually the ones... Like, if you go to see something at the theatre, it's usually the... No, actually, I've actually caught myself up there, isn't it? Because it is the decent seats that go first, isn't it? So, I've kind of...
I'm surprised that the Blu-ray set isn't part of the premiere.
It is.
No, I mean...
It is.
Instead of being the celebration vacation package.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then that would make that a bit more...
To be part of the premiere package and not part of the celebration package. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Not that I'm complaining, because maybe if there's a markdown, it'd be a cool thing to do for my birthday, because that's right before then.
Yeah.
Because, I'm already an annual pass holder, so maybe there'll be a discount if they haven't sold all of them.
Well, here's a question for you then. What do you think about the time of year it's being held?
November.
Yeah. Right before Thanksgiving seems a bit of a strange time. Is that a particularly down time for the parks? I suppose it is. When we were there last, isn't it?
Yeah. Before Thanksgiving, it's usually down, yeah.
So do you think it's a clever way of getting people in the park at a quieter time?
Yeah, it's Sunday before.
Well, it's effectively when the weekend we'd have been coming home last time we went. But you mentioned to me, Hunter, before we start recording, that this sounds like the Universal equivalent of Star Wars weekends.
Yeah, it really does, because you got your cast members, not your cast members, the movie star people doing the autograph sessions. I'm telling how long the lineup's going to be for that. You got your Q&A. You've got your exclusive. I'm sure they'll do some exclusive merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
I thought so, yeah.
Would you two expect it to be something that's a one-off, or Tracy, do you think this will get done every year, or do you think it's just a one-off?
I think they will reserve judgment until they've seen how the first one goes off.
Exactly.
They're going to. Then it is going to be an annual thing.
Yeah, no telling. We probably won't. We probably will only get Dan and Emma and Rupert maybe for the first year.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Hunter, would you like to read the next news story?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about the next news story. It sounds really neat. So it's Universal Pictures' upcoming thriller, The Thing, to become a haunted house experience at Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights. An abandoned scientific research facility in the midst of a vast and frozen Antarctica will set the stage for The Thing, an all-new haunted house inspired by Universal Pictures' upcoming thriller at Universal Orlando Resort's Halloween Horror Nights 21. In the thriller The Thing, paranoia spreads like an epidemic among a group of researchers as they're affected one by one by a mystery from another planet. The new haunted house will offer guests an unprecedented first-hand preview of the much-anticipated thriller in advance of its October 14th release. Guests will find them face-to-face with The Thing, which is an alien creature that can transform itself into an exact replica of any living being. It's said to recreate the suspense from the film and confronting guests with the paranoia and fear that comes from being trapped inside the film's Antarctic fuel station. The shape-shifting alien could be anywhere or anything. Will they survive?
Sounds cool.
Oh, yeah. Apparently the sets are going to be elaborately designed, and the alien creatures are supposed to look pretty disturbingly real.
Because it's based on the remake, isn't it? Not the original.
Is it a remake or is it a reboot?
It's a remake, as far as I was aware.
See, I was told it was a prologue. Not a prologue. What's it called?
Prequel.
Prequel.
No,
yeah,
I'm
there we
pretty
go.
sure I thought it was a remake.
I know nothing about it.
What year did The Thing first come out?
1982.
82.
Yeah.
You've not seen it then, Hunt? Have you not seen the original?
Snow.
Snow?
I have a long time ago.
I haven't seen it for a long time.
I know
But this one's, trying to think, it was in the new one. It's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, isn't it?
I know I had it for my 13th, on a video for my 13th birthday party, none of the other girls would watch it.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Ramona Flowers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only role I know her as.
Finally getting round to releasing some news about it, though, so it sounds good, yeah.
So Universal statement basically says, having recreated well-known horror films in the past, the same level of attention to detail has gone into creating a house experience that will completely immerse guests into the storyline and environment of The Thing. We want people to live the film and experience the same terror that affects the film's characters. Our collaboration with Universal's creative team brought the vision of the film to life. We're excited for Halloween Horror Nights guests to experience The Thing in this frighteningly real way. Sounds cool. I guess this is going to be the major house that they're pushing.
Sounds that way, yeah.
It's very intriguing when the whole premise of Halloween Horror Nights this year is this 1930s, 40s casino thing with Lady Luck, yet they're putting the Thing in. It doesn't really fit.
Well, they always have a house that promotes the movie. At least with some, it makes sense. Like, I know ripped from the silver screen, they did The Wolfman, but that fit because they were doing the horror movies.
Yeah.
That was the theme. So, you're right, it doesn't make sense theming-wise, but, it's good promotion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to complain now. They're not going to walk in and go, what?
That's going to be a cool house.
It makes me wonder where they're going to put that.
Well, I heard, I don't know whether it's true or not, that they were talking about bringing industrial freezers in to try and get it cold enough to be Antarctic, and that's going to be a shock to the system of you tourists walking around in shorts and t-shirts on a night. But I don't know whether it's right or not, but I did hear that somewhere.
So if they did that, it would have to be in a soundstage area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings out, I don't know, for some reason I wanted to say it would be in Jaws, but that doesn't make any sense. Anyways.
Tracy.
Yes. And finally, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, we're returning there. So the Wizarding World of Harry Potter had a celebrity visitor this week. Disney's Selena Gomez. Best known as Alex Russo in The Wizard of Waverly Place, and also, for some reason, Justin Bieber's girlfriend. Well, she dropped in on the 29th of July to check out Dragon Challenge and try butterbeer. Gomez had kicked off her We Own the Night tour in, no, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Boca Raton?
Boca Raton, I thought it was, but whatever.
I'm not sure. People who know the place will know how to pronounce it. Somebody will put me right. Well,
we're going to get emails.
Well, that's good, and then we'll know how to pronounce it. Just be nice and be kind, people.
So anyone from said place, please let us know.
Yes, let us know, because we'd like to get things right. Anyway, she took the opportunity to visit Universal with her 3 backing singers. Posing for a photo in front of the Hogwarts Express with the conductor, all 4 girls sported Hogwarts house scarves and smiled broadly. Obviously, they were having fun. Now, I've already seen the photograph, and it did make me laugh. It's one of Disney's biggest current stars visiting a rival park.
Some Disney executive must have been sat in their office when that picture came up online and gone, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
Tracy, you watch Wizard of Waverly Place with the kids. Is it
I'm glad you said with the kids.
I'll watch it on my own. I'm not bothered. I like it. I like whatever. Anyway, I was talking to... His name's going to bloody come up again. Craig Lucas. And he seems to think that it's getting very close to the end of its...
Wizards?
Yeah.
Finished?
It has finished.
I'm certain they've shot the final...
Right. So she's effectively very close to being out of her Disney contract.
Yeah, but isn't she... Which record company is she with? I thought it was Disney.
I thought it was Hollywood Records.
I don't know.
I wouldn't have a clue.
I don't know.
It is funny, though, because... I have a younger sister as well, so I've seen bits and pieces of it, and there are actually quite a few episodes that kind of poke fun at the whole Harry Potter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I don't know if you've seen that.
You watch it more than I do.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it for a while, actually, because there's been any new ones on. But let's face it, at the end of the day, she's how old?
18 and 19,
She's a kid. All kids want to go and check out theme parks. Kids don't think that far ahead. We don't think that far ahead, and we're not kids.
It's funny, though, isn't it?
It is. It's amusing. I also like the fact that she's a wizard from Waverly Place.
Well, yeah.
That she's checking out the Wizarding World.
I find it funny that it doesn't mention, what is now the park's signature attraction, Forbidden Journey, instead saying, oh, she went and rode, Dragon Challenge.
Yeah.
I found that kind of interesting. So
maybe she didn't get the 3 clicks. Do they still have the 3 clicks on it?
Yes.
I have no idea. Okay, I found it. She is signed to the... Crap, where did it go?
I've never heard of that record label. Well,
okay, apparently she's signed to all of them except Disney.
Okay.
It's weird. Wait, no. Hollywood Records is owned by the Walt Disney Company.
Right.
There you go.
Never mind.
Oh, if that's the worst clanger she drops, well, she's doing all right.
Oh, yeah. It's not, yeah.
Apart from Justin Bieber, I don't get that one. That's worse, I think.
It's no Miley Cyrus going all...
You mean when she dropped the Goody Two Shoes child image
sexy...
and then became what she was, rather than being the Disney-fied image?
Yeah. Anyway.
Good for her.
So, I shall take the next news story, and it's not a very good one. A man was injured recently on Dragon Challenge and possibly blinded. It was reported on Click Orlando that the Universal theme park in Orlando shut down the Dragon Challenge roller coaster on Sunday after a man was injured and possibly blinded. Carlos Montalvo told Local 6 he and his wife were on vacation from Puerto Rico, but said by phone from his hospital bed, "This is not a vacation, this is a nightmare." He said he was. They were in the front row of the ride inside the Harry Potter attraction when he says something hit him in his right eye. He still doesn't know what hit him, but said it happened just as the 2 coasters veered near each other. He remembers the pain he felt as he rode the rest of the ride screaming and wounded. Universal reopened Dragon Challenge around 1:30 on Monday after determining the ride was safe. A statement from Universal spokesman Tom Schroeder went on to say, "We have also spent the hours since the event thoroughly inspecting and re-inspecting the ride vehicles, the tracks and the area underneath the tracks. We have found absolutely nothing that could have contributed to this incident." As Montalvo remains in the hospital, his brother told Local 6 he's a nurse back home, already had one bad eye, and whatever hit him may have taken his remaining good eye. Montalvo said nobody else knew what happened, but his wife sitting next to him was in shock. Universal said it will do what it can to help this family, and said nothing like this has ever happened on this ride since it opened under another name in 1999. Right, am I right? Does anybody remember 2 or 3 years ago a team member getting smacked in the back of the head? Did he die?
Is that on this?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago, was it?
He was hit by the feet of the rioters, I think it was.
No, wasn't it? I thought it was when they were doing the testing runs first thing in the morning. The bottom of the seat hit him on the back of the head. When it was going up the lift hill.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
So, yeah, it's not the only... I suppose this type of incident...
Yeah, nothing like this has ever happened on the ride. Nobody's been blinded on it.
It's a weird one because...
You see, I can't think of any bugs that would have hit that hard that they could have caused that. Well, I don't know.
Is it something...
Well, it could have been something that fell off a a person that was riding on the coaster.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
a coin out of somebody's pocket.
They said they've checked underneath the tracks, and they've checked underneath the tracks, and they've found absolutely nothing.
It could have been a stone in somebody's shoe.
Yeah. Who knows?
The point is, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
This is this is the first time something like this has happened.
I mean, obviously some things hit him.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
But it really shows to Universal that they actually shut down the ride and scanned the entire
they've
thing.
Been very responsible about it.
They would have to. But
well, yeah.
It's that point now where, because they haven't found anything to say what it was, it's now this Carlos Montalvo's thing where he's got to prove it was negligence on Universal's part, which, from evidence, from what we're reading there isn't any. He can't.
No, but obviously something's happened to him.
Yeah, but does that leave them liable just because...
I don't know.
Let's go back again. It's the whole thing. It's like Darren Schmidt, who did the trip report with us.
Yes.
Who did the dispute story, right?
Yeah.
He fell down one of the escalators. He admitted it was entirely his fault.
Yeah.
You know, he phoned Universal and wanted to see if they could extend his ticket. He never once said it was anything to do with them. He accepted full responsibility for it. I know it's a slightly different situation because it's something that wasn't caused by him, but it's just one of them things, isn't it? Unless it was something from the ride.
It's a complete chance, you know.
Yeah.
It could happen to anybody anyway. You don't necessarily have to be on a theme.
Well, I highly doubt somebody's on the other coaster holding something.
No.
It's very unlikely, isn't it?
I mean, do they have CCTV cameras anywhere about? Hunter, do you know if they've got anything? Checking the ride, I don't suppose they will.
No.
See, it doesn't actually say where it is either, does it?
I don't think.
It just says where they're near each other. Now, there's 3 points, isn't it, where the ride comes close?
Well, they're near each other 3 times, yeah.
So it's not necessarily the big loop in the middle, which is what I immediately thought of when I read it.
And how fast does
I thought it would
travel?
Wait, go on ahead.
It's about 60 miles an hour, isn't it?
60 and isn't it like 75 for one of them?
I don't know.
One of them goes faster than the other one.
Does it?
So
Yes, it does.
So if you travel at those speeds, technically, if something had flown into his eye, some sort of hard wind case beetle or something, could that do that amount of damage? Do you know what I mean? Because if you travel at 6 miles an hour, something hits you, in a soft area like the eye, and if you're looking at something like a beetle that does have a hard wind case, that's going to cause some damage, isn't it?
Possibly.
And then they're not going to look at something on the floor like a dead bug and immediately go, "Oh, there's the culprit," are they?
No.
So has it been? Obviously, it's all speculation because I don't think we'll ever know.
See, my first thought was just like what Tracy said, which was about, a bug or something.
I suppose if you're rattling around at 60 miles an hour and you get some pretty big bugs over in Orlando compared to what we get here, yeah. I mean...
Well, like even when you're just driving down, the interstate or something, you're going 60 or so.
To the mess they make of your windscreen when its backside squishes all over the windscreen.
And you hear it. You actually hear it. Thunk.
Yeah.
So.
Quite possibly.
I'm grossed out now.
Imagine how A Bug's Life would have turned out if it was about that.
Nice. But I'm sure we'll find out more as the story goes on, but cover it.
Obviously I hope it recovers rapidly.
Yeah.
But I don't think we will find out exactly what happened.
Maybe not, maybe you will, but whatever. Right,
yes.
Thanks very much for the news, guys. Not that there was much of it this fortnight, I suppose.
It's enough to get us talking.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Right. Brilliant. Right, so let's get on with the best bit of the show.
Oh, yes.
So, this is the segment for this week's show, and we'd like to introduce our very special guest for this one, Jim Hill. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Wow, if I'm the special guest, we really need to get you guys. So.
You're the most special guest, not putting anybody else down that we've had on before.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on and putting up with me, I guess. So.
It's our pleasure.
So, yeah, the reason, that we kind of came into having you on was something you mentioned to us about what Islands of Adventure was originally going to be, which sort of piqued our interests.
Well, again, it's kind of interesting because, of course, Islands is, now, in its 10th, 11th?
12th, is it not this year?
12th. Right, you're right. 12th year of operation, of course. And it's kind of hit a reset button, with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And, so a lot of people are just now, this strikes me as so weird, but just now experiencing this park that's been there in Orlando all of these years. But what's kind of intriguing is Islands was not the first park that was designed as the companion for Universal Studios Florida. That there was actually an earlier project where Universal had actually gotten in bed with Warner Brothers. Now, the idea behind doing that was that the Universal executives of the years that Universal was open noticed that they weren't getting the business that Disney got, and some of that is understandable. That Disney had, all of its hotels on property and, had built up this reputation. And I think it's kind of interesting looking at what they did in addition to islands, between the 3 resort hotels and the City Walk, that they kind of addressed a lot of the stuff that they realized that Disney had an advantage over them.
Yeah, because Disney at that point will have only had Epcot, Magic Kingdom, and then they'll have been working on Animal Kingdom at the time. Is that right?
Well, remember that Disney, in fact, Disney Hollywood Studios. I mean, back in the day, Disney MGM.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about MGM. Yeah.
Well, again, another interesting set of stories there. I mean, Jay Stein, the head of Universal and the guy who wrote Herd on that project, swears up and down that when they were looking for partners, when they announced that out ahead of Epcot, that they wanted to have that open. And, it took them forever to actually get it going.
Yeah.
And they were looking for financial partners. And one of the financial partners was Paramount. And at that time, Michael Eisner was in charge of Paramount. And Jay Stein, swears up and down that Eisner was in at least one of the meetings where they laid out the entire plan for Universal Studios Florida. And, you could get him wound up on the subject really quickly because it's just sort of effective. Catastrophe Canyon was a direct lift from an attraction that they originally proposed for Universal.
Right.
Hollywood Boulevard versus Disney's Hollywood Boulevard. It was a very, very, very sore point.
Yeah.
So, anyway, jumping ahead now to, they realized that if we're going to be a multi-day resort, we need 2 parks. But what the advantage that Disney has is they have their characters. They have Snow White. They have Mickey Mouse. And Universal had, Chilly Willy, Woody Woodpecker. These were characters that were popular in the 40s.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was part of the problem with Universal is they literally had to walk out the door and buy franchises. I mean, for example, King Kong. King Kong for that park was actually came off of the bones of a version of King Kong that Universal was going to try to do in Sense Around. They were going to do a 3D Sense Around version, and it actually turned out to be a competing project for Dino De Laurentiis' remake of Kong.
Right.
75, 76. Anyway. So anyway, long story short, they realize if we're going to do another park, we need characters. We need characters that people love that are in their lives today. And what they did, just like the Paramount deal, is they went looking for a partner. And they reached out to Warner Brothers. And Warner's actually has an amazing stable of characters if you actually dig down into the company. Between what they own through DC, Batman and Superman, let alone the Looney Tune characters. And then at this time, Spielberg was just getting the new set of Looney Tune characters up out of the ground. The
Tiny Toons, was it?
Also, the Animaniacs were on the horizon.
Yeah.
So there was a big library for them to pull from. And so Universal Creative and Warner's got together and they, all right, so what are we going to do? And this is our answer to Epcot, and so one of the basic components of it was a lagoon and, but it's going to be a Toon Park, and thus was born Tooniversal Studios.
Which is a cool title, I think. That's really good.
Absolutely. And, and coming on the heels of the success of Roger Rabbit, I mean, again, this is the same time period. Yeah. The notion is that, again, in fact, a lot of the geography of Islands Adventure today came off of the Tooniversal Studios project. You were going to enter through another sort of port adventure area, but, again, much toonier environment, and you would be passing crates and that sort of thing that were supposed to be shipped off to the various different lands. Now, speaking of the lands, you arrive, you come through Port Adventure, and you arrive at the lagoon. And directly to your left, instead of Marvel Island, was going to be Metropolis. This was going to be an entire land of the park that celebrated Superman.
Cool.
So there were, Superman flying coaster. There was going to be a Lex Luthor stunt show where Superman would battle Lex. There was going to be a Mr. Mipalix. I don't know how he's pronounced it. but a magic illusion type show, and just a heroic, but bright and sunny, and a sleek 1930s city. But yet now, if you came in the entrance and went to the right, there was Gotham City. And this was the area that celebrated Batman. And it was darker and had some of the scarier, more extreme coasters. That there was going to be a Joker coaster that was absolutely amazing. There was going to be a penguin ride where you were basically being chased with the entire attraction, kind of a flying ride. You're basically in the bat plane, and Penguin is behind you shooting at you with his machine gun umbrella.
That sounds cool.
That does sound cool.
Yeah, but now at the very back of the park, though, because again, aping the Magic Kingdom idea that you have to go deepest into the park to get to the fantasy characters. Mm-hmm. Back there was where the Looney Tunes land was going to be located. And this actually had my favorite attraction out of the entire park. They were going to do a Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner roller coaster. Fantastic. And this had the greatest launch sequence that had ever been devised for a theme park attraction. Basically, you made your way through the queue, and it was going to be just like what you see in the Roadrunner cartoons, that sort of American Southwest, orange, redstone, that sort of thing. And eventually you arrive at Wile E. Coyote's secret laboratory, and you've been recruited to test his latest Roadrunner catching device, which is basically a giant firecracker with seats in it.
Cool.
And it's the classic Chuck Jones big explosive rocket. And so you get on board, and they do the countdown, and at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and at the one point, literally a giant, Wile E. Coyote audio animatronic leans out at the very back of your ride vehicle. It's the people in line who can see this. You can't really see this because you're facing forward.
Right.
But he lights a match and lights the rocket, and then this was going to be one of those magnet-driven coasters. You were literally going to go from 0 to 60 in seconds and just burst out of the station.
So similar to what the Hulk is, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, you had they had other wonderful little bends on the Looney Tunes. I mean, for example, there was going to be their version of the Skyway was going to be that you traveled in a bird cage just like Tweety Bird.
Cool.
But you'd come in and out of various buildings, and giant Sylvester the cats would try to attack you.
That sounds cool.
Oh, it had all these wonderful ideas, and everybody agreed that it was a brilliant idea for a park, and more to the point, because the characters were all coming from one place, it was an easy deal to make, and just everyone thought this is perfect, and this is our answer to Disney, and it's a strong library of characters, and
certainly
let's go.
Yeah.
And when you think the generations that would have spanned as well.
Yeah.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like Batman's still as big now, I think, as it's ever been.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And remember that this was also during the period when, in not only the Joel Schumacher films, but they were actually leaning more toward the design of the Batman the Animated Series that Bruce Timm and Paul Dini had written and designed.
Right.
Anyway, long story short,
I was about to ask a question, because
Sure.
all these characters are so widely known with, the Six Flags amusement parks now. So how would that have? Was this before?
Well, you
Six
remember
Flags started using these characters?
this is 1990, 91, 92 thereabouts. All right, and more to the point, this is where the story kind of gets sad, because so it comes down to the final phase of negotiation. And, the people at Warner Bros. Is like, we will give you all these characters. You'll have the theme park rights into perpetuity. And all we ask for, for the rights to use Batman and Superman is a $30 million, cash payment, and that we get a percentage of the merchandise. And Jay Stein, the head of Universal at that point, balked at, $30 million? That much for and you're not building the rights. I mean, you're not, we're expending all the money. We're the one taking the risk here. And negotiations literally broke down over, that sort of deal. And the saddest part, and the saddest part of it is that because Warner's had done so much discovery on, they had commissioned their own surveys. They had gone out and found out that, wow, people will get really excited about our characters in the theme park setting. That's how they actually wound up in bed with Six Flags. That during the discovery period for Universal Studios, they realized that, geez, we've been sitting in a gold mine and we haven't done anything with them. And so they turn around, cut this deal, and meanwhile, Universal, literally is now left with the whole physical plant, design of a park, how they're going to handle the back of the house, where the lagoon's going to be, and they got nothing, so it's like now it's, Jay says, that's okay, we'll go out and get our own properties. And they proceeded to sort of work their trap line. They talked with Spielberg, and Spielberg, of course, well, all right, sure, you can have the we've already done the Jurassic Park ride for Universal Studios Hollywood. We'll just expand out from that. And in fact, I don't know if you've ever seen the art for the both the walkthrough as well as the Jeep adventure that was originally designed.
I've seen the Jeep one, but I haven't heard about the walkthrough one.
Yeah, I just came across the Jeep Tour concept art a couple weeks ago, and I was like freaking out at what could have actually transpired instead of the river adventure that Hollywood already has.
Well, you see, but that's the thing. The every time you talk with anybody in theme park design, there are those amazing moments where you make the model and you got the concept art and you get everybody in the room excited and, we got to do this ride. And then somebody slides a piece of paper across the table to tell you how much it's going to cost.
Right.
That's when hey, what else did we do previously?
It was more cost effective for them to transport one that was already in existence.
Absolutely.
Which I've always found a strange fit with the amount of water rides that are already in Islands of Adventure.
Well, and the saddest thing is that, for example, Dudley Do-Ride Ripsaw Falls, that was never supposed to be an opening day attraction. In fact, have you ever ridden through that and just one of these things where it's like, boy, this passage is kind of blank and empty and, it feels like something's missing. It's like, it is. I mean, they literally, they realized when they opened the park, it's like, I don't think we're going to have enough rides. And it's like, Dudley's going to have to make it for opening day. So entire show scenes, entire gags for that were cut and have never been put back in. And likewise, the whole, the Toon Lagoon area, that was actually basically a blank spot on the map for much of the time that they were developing, again, islands, because it's like they were, we have a family friend who actually was the secretary to the head of construction for that part of the building of the park. She, in fact, describes working in this trailer that was in this sea of mud,
right.
And they're pouring concrete, and they, get the phone call like, hey, we got ED Cap. Right? Where are we going to put that? And it's just, the whole notion of just, frantically reaching out to places like King Features and say, Prince Valiant, how much you want for Prince Valiant? And using Popeye and Dudley as their two anchors. But Dudley was supposed to be the attraction that brought you back in year 2.
Right.
That they open the park and, hey, you want to come back for our amazing Flume ride? And again, don't get me wrong, there's that has some wonderful stuff in it, though. Every time I ride it, I manage to either bang the back of my head or hit my chin on the front of it.
It's surprising because it's been down for a few refurbs, like quite recently as well. I'm surprised they haven't took the time to put those extra bits back in.
They haven't added anything to it.
Apart from
here's the problem. In order to do that, you have to admit that you rushed to open it.
This is true.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. So, and more to the point, face it, that Universal did eventually make the smart play with islands. They realized after in our previous phone call, we talked about the whole problem with the original ad campaign for when they relaunched the whole Universal Escape, campaign that nobody understood. And, did such a poor job of explaining there was a second theme park that everyone thought that, well, these are just new rides, right, at the old one. It's like, no, new park, new hotels, new nightclub district.
Well, that's it. We said the same, what they did with Harry Potter, is they went the exact opposite way, and they've sold it as a third park when it isn't.
The Harry Potter theme park.
Yeah, most people who aren't theme park fans who talk about it, like you say, as the Harry Potter theme park.
Yep. But on the other hand, that money was so well spent.
Oh.
Think about it. They literally were able to reintroduce a pre-existing theme park to the world. And so many people went there and like, wow, I had no idea there was this and Dr. Seuss. So that's another interesting part of the story that you got to remember that Rowling for almost 18 months was in bed with Disney.
Yeah.
And, they were working on a full-blown Harry Potter park that ultimately just there was a breakdown between JK's vision of the park and Disney's vision of the park. And Disney wanted to make an obscene amount of money, and JK wanted to spend an obscene amount of money. She wanted that version of the park, you went to the Leaky Cauldron. You literally walked up to, the back industrial street of London. You entered through the Leaky Cauldron. You went up to the brick wall. You hit it, and it opened onto, Diagon Alley. It was supposed to be that theme park's Main Street USA.
I don't know about the other two, but I'm geeking out over that now. It would have been amazing.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But again, the problem was that Disney was used to moving. Think about it. Disney moves tens of thousands of people a day through their theme. And, if you get right down to it, those theme parks are people-eating machines.
Yes.
By the time, the Disney J.K. Rowling negotiation implodes. And Universal is standing outside of this going, okay, watch this. And what they do is they bring J.K. over, and they walk her through Seuss Landing. And it's look how faithful we are to the works of Theodore Geisel. Look what we've done with his character. We've created this in-depth 3D environment, and we will do the exact same with Harry Potter. In fact, to seal the deal here, tell you what, we'll use the exact same guys from the movie. We'll reach out to Stuart Craig and his crew. They can design it. It'll be like you walk straight into the movie. But what Universal was able to do was because she had been so bruised from the Disney negotiation. Again, there were so many things she wanted. She wanted you to ride the Hogwarts Express to Hogwarts Castle. Yeah. She wanted you to have these sort of quintessential experience. She wanted you to play Quidditch. And Disney was sitting there working the price point where the experiences that she was designing would only do, it was Disney's Discovery Cove. It was going to be 1,000 to 1,500 people a day. That was the only way they were going to be able to do these sorts of things.
Right.
And for example, the only way that everybody could have the 3D broomsticks experience was that as you arrived at the park, they were actually going to pulse you into the entrance area. You were going to be held, around a corner. So what you didn't realize is there were actually 5 different entrances to the 3 broomsticks. And after each group went, the group went in ahead of you, the 3 broomstick sign would literally fold itself in over one doorway and fold out over another doorway.
Okay.
And so, now mind you, it meant you anytime, whenever you walked the 3 broomsticks, there'd only be like 1 or 2 people in there because that's all they could afford, because they're doing 5 different entrance areas. But everybody, they'd select a child out of every family, similar to what's done in Ollivander's wand shop, and they'd tap the right bricks, and the portal would open, and you'd rush into you'd rush into Diagon Alley, never realizing that if you look behind you, there were 5 other doorways that people were coming out of.
Well, you wouldn't look.
No. Again, that's the beautiful part of it. Again, with the force perspective and the excitement of it. But but anyway, again, it was actually Seuss's Landing that sealed the deal for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And of course, the real irony of this here is that if the story I hear is true, the the one-time cash payment they had to make to J.K. was more than double what they would have paid for all of the Warner Brothers characters. Wow. Cartoon.
It's funny how after all that time that they've ended up going back into dealings with Warner Brothers as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think what intrigues me about the deal, and again, I've got 3 different sources on this, but Universal, whenever I ask for direct confirmation of this, just refuses. Supposedly, the deal with Roland, it's a 10-year deal with only 2 options of 5 years long for extension. So if you think about it, they even, and part of this is she insisted upon that because she wanted to make sure that they kept it up.
Yeah.
That she didn't want to come back and find it in poor shape. So, evidently, the time to visit Harry Potter Land or the Wizarding World would probably be, the summer of 2020 when they're going to be painting everything.
Yeah.
He's going to be here next week. Make everything look good.
Just roping in the guests as well. You've got free handies and paintbrush.
That's the week to go. I was lucky enough to get invited to the press event for the Wizarding World, and totally by a fluke. I was, they had the grand opening party, and I was literally the first press person off the bus, and ended up walking up the red carpet at a point that they just had a rainstorm. And so the red carpet was covered with this, sort of plastic they'd throw down on it. I had this employee sort of shoo me off of the plastic, and I suddenly ended up in the land outside of the holding pen they were keeping the press in.
Oh.
So I kind of had the place to myself for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And it was very bizarre. I mean, at one point, I was able to go around and quiz all sorts of employees and got amazing stories about how families during, what is it? Bots, Flourish and Bots, is that the souvenir place that's off of Ollivanders where you can buy, all of the merch?
Come on, Hunter, you know that.
Dervish and Bangs.
Dervish
and
Bangs.
There we go. Sorry.
Dervish,
okay.
yeah.
Dervish and Bangs. Was in there quizzing the employees about what they were just telling these amazing stories about how the average merchandise sale during the soft opening of Wizarding World was $175. And, average.
Wow.
And that, it wasn't really all that outlandish to see a family drop $400 on brooms and gowns and hats. And in fact, they had one family over from the UK that had spent $1,700 in there.
Wow.
And, but again, just people were so thrilled to be in that environment. In fact,
I'm sure I'll part with some money when we're there.
Well, what's just amazing is how crazed some people will get in that environment. I mean, for example, the gift shop that's in the exit area of Forbidden Journey. I again got a friend who works there who tells this amazing story about her job was to restock the shelves. And during the holiday season when it got cold at Universal, it took her 5 times to make it across the store with an armload of Gryffindor scarves.
Right.
Because, she'd enter the room with the people go, oh, and just would fall on her like wolves. And it's like, I'm trying to restock the shelves. Okay, I'm glad you all, it's like, it's cold. I want a scarf.
Well, I know from listening to Inside the Magic of Ricky Brigante, and he's the biggest Disney fan going. Mm-hmm. And he did a special show when it first opened, and I know him and his wife dropped at least $800 in there.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. But it's doubling back on the opening night party. So I decided to find a quiet corner to try to work up my notes, and from what I'd heard, and so I go into 3 broomsticks, and what I hadn't realized that they basically took. There must have been 30 or 40 actors who that night were dressed as witches and wizards and were going to be the entertainment, just sort of the color of the event. But again, same thing. They were looking for a place to hold them before they revealed them. So I'm face down in my notebook. I'm working away. And suddenly I notice the room has gotten noisier, and I look up, and I'm literally the only Muggle in the room. I'm now in the movie, all right? And the one thing they don't tell you about the Harry Potter universe is that when you're trying to cross a room full of wizards in robes, you step on a lot of hems, all right? I almost killed, most of the teaching staff at Hogwarts. So, so again, I go across to the other component. I'm out of the three broomsticks, and I'm in the blanking the name of. Oh no, I'm out of the Hogshead Tavern. I'm now in the food portion, the three broomsticks, and I'm sitting down. Again, picked what I thought was a quiet corner. And I eventually become aware of these three older blonde women who are sitting having dinner and are complaining about, well, do you think she'll come out to this? Like, well, she's been in her hotel room all day. And, and I realized I'm sitting next to J.K. Rowling's family who,
Wow.
are kind of, it was funny to listen to her siblings talk about her. Like, I'm sure we all talk about our own siblings.
Yeah.
You're sort of like, yeah, right. Yes, it's nice to be here, but geez, why do we have to dress up and rah 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 rah? But yeah, it's an amazing environment. But just listening to them talk about how she had literally been in the park the day beforehand, talking with the people who painted the moss on the rocks, and it's like that's the wrong color. Or it needs to be higher, or this is older, so it needs more moss. And the level of attention to detail that she brings to this.
She's very, very protective of her baby.
She's renowned for the detail.
And she should be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But where this gets interesting, and I'm sure you've heard the stories, it is the expansion. That, and Universal Creative... they cut a very interesting deal with her because obviously the Potter books get very dark after Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest, what is it? About 100 pages before Goblet of Fire ends.
Pretty much from the last tournament onwards.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So they wanted a happy Hogwarts. They wanted a happy environment. So literally you are in, the time period that you are in when you go into the Wizarding World it's the day of the Dragon Challenge in Goblet of Fire. And in fact, that explains, as you're walking up to the old dueling dragons, the various signs that are up supporting Fleur and Cedric Diggory and so on and so forth. But now as they get ready to expand, because obviously this has been a huge success, a lot of the deals that they with JK are kind of tough because, for example, she agreed that the biggest component of the park or this part of the park would be Hogsmeade Village, but with the understanding that they do the forced perspective version of Hogwarts Castle and the ride and the rock work under that. And so now when you go to expand this, it's just sort of like, you're kind of locked into the geography and the time period that she's agreed to it. She's an incredible stickler. I mean, she really pushes back.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they're looking now to sort of take a large chunk of what's now sort of the Arab area of Lost Continent and make that into the Forbidden Forest.
Right.
And then it gets interesting because I think, for example, one of the ideas is sort of to take the Whomping Willow and turn that into a spinner attraction.
Uh-huh.
So you're kind of in the arms of the tree and, the standard Dumbo thing. The upside is I don't think the tree will throw you to the ground and try to kill you.
No.
But again,
That'll be a plus.
No, they want people to come back.
Yeah.
People with broken pelvises don't spring for the scarves, okay? Maybe the Gryffindor truss.
Yeah.
Let's see.
They could put Madame Pomfrey's in the infirmary.
There you go. Here.
Yeah.
Enjoy the chocolate. Okay. Let's see. I know that they are looking at Poseidon's Fury as, the setup just lends itself beautifully to doing something with the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't really fit into that time period.
Well, there you go. All right. So it's, and again, this is the problem of having to have this conversation with her. and sell her on the idea.
But I'm sure I heard that part of the deal was, Hunter, I'm sure you told me this as well,
that they have to incorporate the final movies.
Yeah.
With Warner, that was part of Warner Brothers thing, is what I heard as well.
Well, but see, that gets interesting. Because, I mean, for example, obviously on the heels of, the whole Gringotts coaster that was shown in the last film, a lot of people pushing for, we should do the coaster.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if we can get that by her. I don't know if we can make that fit.
Well, we've discussed it on the show before, and Tracy's biggest complaint was that there already is 2 coasters in there.
Yeah, we need something for a family.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is very, very early on, there was a discussion of doing the Great Hall and actually doing a dining experience. In fact, I was talking with somebody who had actually been part of the prototype, and they had this ingenious idea. They wanted to replicate that moment from the movie where the food magically appeared.
Cool.
And what they figured out, the prototype, it was actually a very ingenious idea that the restaurant, the Great Hall, was going to be on the 2nd floor, and the food was going to be prepared and delivered up from the 1st floor pneumatically. So the waitstaff was literally going to walk in with the top half of serving trays and put them down on empty spaces of the table. And then, the queue, pneumatically, these things are going to be, elevated up very quickly into the space. And then, there's like on a 3 count, they're going to lift the lids and there was the food.
Wow.
Well, again, a great idea, until, it's like what they found was that, they really had to work on the timing, because they do things like they'd send up a giant bowl of mashed potatoes or cream turkey, and it would literally splatter in the lid. Sort of lift open this giant thing of fuck. It's like
nah.
It's magical.
Yeah. So I know that they are looking to circle back on that. In fact, it's kind of ironic that we were talking earlier about the Jurassic Park Jeep ride, because again, that there is land, that there are expansion pads as part of Jurassic Park, and a number of them actually do border on the Wizarding World. And so just the wondering, it's like, can we do the Great Hall experience, and if so, how do we do the Great Hall experience, and how do we explain that? Yeah, well, the castle's up there, but if you go through this doorway and go down that hall, hey, look, it's the Great Hall. Again, this is very, very much in flux at this point, and again, it's an ongoing negotiation. And where it gets particularly interesting is that they can't do anything without her signing off on it. I mean, they can propose all sorts of things, and I know that there's a number of, that they'll periodically grab people out of the Wizarding World, particularly the ones with giant armloads of crap that they purchased. And it's like, hi, could you come into this room? We'd like to show you some stuff, and see what they react to.
Yeah.
I actually got messaged on Twitter a couple of days ago from someone who said they were talking to somebody over at Universal, and they were told, and they said it was a pretty reliable source, that the expansion's a definite go for 2012, and that the announcement's expected to be made on the 31st of July, which is Harry's birthday.
Okay. I've heard a different timetable on this. My understanding is that Universal is looking... I mean, you have to understand that they're trying to get... They're dealing with some balance issues here, that obviously a lot of people are going to that park. But, that they've seen it sort of eat into the attendance over at Universal Studios Florida.
Yeah.
And that, coupled with the fact that, Rip It, Ride It, Rocket didn't quite do what anybody anticipated. It don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant design. The notion of an interactive coaster and you picking your own soundtrack. But, you may remember that was supposed to open, June of 2009, and didn't actually make it open till Labor Day, September, something like that.
And it hasn't got any better.
No, it hasn't. It's still got its same capacity issues. It's still, I mean, it's brilliant design. I mean, just that they had the sheer balls to build something that size in the middle of the park that loops over that many different attractions.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a very brave thing to do, but it did not get them the response they wanted. So, my understanding is after Despicable Me opens and after the redo of Spider-Man with all of those new elements, redoing all of the computer animation and that sort of thing.
Apparently, the projectors have already been changed.
Yeah. But again, you've got to put the this. Trust me, you're going to notice this new footage.
Oh yeah,
it's sort of like looking. I mean, have you gone back and looked at like Toy Story recently? You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still charming. But, computer animation from 1995, particularly when it comes with the use of shaders and colors and shadow, it's not nearly as subtle or as impressive as computer animation is today. And that's literally what they're looking to do.
Yeah.
They want Spider-Man to be, really impressive. My understanding is that the two, they are potentially going to do like a giant hint, that we are expanding, but that's as part of that event in November, a celebration of the Harry Potter film.
Yeah, right. And
then supposedly, you'll finally get to see artwork and get a timetable when they do the 1-2 punch of opening Despicable Me and Spider-Man next year. But again, I mean, that's the thing of dealing with these giant theme parks is that depending on what's going on in the economy, that they will rush things. They'll rush things. They'll change plans. I mean, again, getting back to the whole, Dudley Do Ripsaw Falls. It's like, this isn't ready to open for 6 to 8 months. It's like, don't care. It opens.
Yeah.
And it opens. So
it's that they've got to look at that line of, do we not open? Can we open the park without it, or is it better opening with it half working?
And when you get right down to it, the complaint that people are most making about Harry Potter is that there were long lines to get into the shops, and again, not to I've talked with enough people at Universal who are like, I get that we're doing the expansion and I think it's smart. I'm just concerned about spending another, I mean, you can think about it. They delivered all of that, this amazing thing for $165 million. I mean, that's just stunning to deliver that much at a theme park for that price point.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, an investment that's I think I've heard it's 3/4 of what they initially spent. So 100 million, 120 for the expansion. But it's like we have to create more retail opportunities to, because I said, they have little people who stand outside with clickers and count the number of people who, after they've stood in line for a long time, just walk away. And it's just sort of like, oh, they would have bought a scarf. They would have bought a broom. So, but the argument is, what if we spend this money and in the 3 years it takes us to get this constructed and open, the wind goes out of the Harry Potter sales.
That's it. The problem is it's as big as it has been at the moment because the latest film, the last film's out, and
that's it exactly.
Yeah.
So you err on the side of caution, and in 5 years' time, when Harry Potter is still popular but not this popular, and at that point, your current footprint for the Wizarding World is right. Is the exact right size. And that would then leave you lots of property to develop on the Lost Continent side. Or do you spend this money now and risk that suddenly you have empty stores because Zonkos is a cute idea, but not everybody is like a Weasley fan and has to get in there and get their stuff. I mean, again, it's always with theme parks. It's you're always wondering, am I spending too much? Am I spending too little? am I getting enough people through here an hour?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a very fine line.
And that coupled with the fact that, it's the new stuff that brings people in through the door.
Yeah.
So I'm during our last conversation, we talked a little bit about how Universal is looking for their next Harry Potter property, and they've supposedly had conversations with James Cameron about Avatar, and I know that they've been lusting after Peter Jackson, and
see, that's going to get a new lease of life at the moment with The Hobbit coming out as well. Yeah. So,
and that's where that gets interesting, because supposedly the conversations have been, to the effect of, can Peter hang on to all the props this time? Can Peter hang on to all the costumes? And where would you put that? Would you pull down Toon Lagoon to create space for this thing? Because again, I don't know if that's the one part of this park that's kind of vague. That really doesn't. I mean, if you think about it, yes, Dudley Do-Right has a strong identity, but it's from a cartoon from the 1960s.
Yeah,
and Popeye, kind of has a strong identity, but it's a cartoon from the 1930s.
Well, our kids didn't only because we told them about them. The kids didn't have a clue who Popeye was.
Yeah. That's it exactly. So,
and when you look at the size of that area, that's all it's got really. The rest's all retail.
Absolutely.
And really, I hadn't realised that myself until just recently.
It's literally bookend by two rides in the middle. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I know that they use. It always becomes a question of, for the, for example, where the old Toon Circus show used to be, that they now use that. I've been in there, for example, for Halloween Horror Nights when they did the Bill and Ted show back there.
Was that the Matt Hoffman thing was?
Yeah. No, that's it exactly. So, sometimes when you run a theme park, particularly like Universal, where you have a seasonal event like Halloween Horror Nights, that is so crucial to that park's financial plan. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the same things I've heard, that they make, a third to close to half of their annual operating budget off of Halloween Horror Nights.
I didn't actually know that, but wow.
Yeah, well, then think about it. That you're operating the park, you're doing this after-hours event, where people are paying you big money, and they're buying alcohol, they're buying those amazingly tacky glow-in-the-dark things that the battery dies in the car going home.
I tell you, and it totally deserves its reputation.
Oh, they're amazing.
Absolutely. But at the same time, how many times have you been in there and stood in a 2-hour-long line, for a 5-minute long experience, and then you get on the next 2-hour-long line?
Yeah.
So,
Hunter, you've never been, have you?
No, but I know enough about it.
It's definitely
every year Universal does definitely. From what I've heard, they do quite a good job on what they do with Halloween Horror Nights.
We did it in 2004, and it was amazing.
It is. But at the same time, when you're a wimp like myself, one of the things I love doing the Halloween Horror Night press night, because what they'll literally do is they'll take a bunch of us, old fat wimpy reporters, and walk us through all six or eight of the mazes in one night. And the interesting thing is, only the first one is scary, because they'll immediately walk you into the next one.
So you haven't got that time to reset, as it were.
Well, more to the point, after you've gone through the first one, you realize, okay, I've just walked into a room. There's a giant thing in front of me. I'm supposed to be looking at that, which means the scary person who jumps out is to my left.
Yeah.
And you literally turn into some, 14-year-old who's been made up, ready to jump out of you. You're like, damn it. And that's, so by your second or third maze, you've got it locked. I mean, you just know, okay, here's the pattern. They come out here. They're going to go there. They jump on my face. And you become this cynical, big scary. Whereas, if you're outside in line for 2 hours, you're building it up in your mind.
Yeah.
How intense this is going to be, and you forget the visual language. So you get the real experience, where when you march through these things so quickly, it's just sort of like, big scary whoop. But no, they make so much money off of Halloween Horror Nights that, but it also means that they have to keep spaces, the venues, like for the Bill and Ted show.
Yeah.
They can't flatten that, put an attraction in there. They need it, to be able to use it for that
That's a strange one, though, because they don't actually use Islands of Adventure that much for the Halloween Horror Nights, though, do they?
Well, they did the one year, and I know...
That was the year we went, 2004. It was over both parks.
Yeah, and it didn't actually have the back pass that you could literally go through the soundstage areas between the two parks.
Yeah, there was a cut-through. We've talked about this quite a bit. There was a cut-through behind the Cat in the Hat.
Is that the one that came out at...
Behind where Rip Ride Rocket is now. And then there was another one somewhere else. I can never remember where the second one was.
Well, again, you walk back there and people are waving flashlights at you. It's like, come on. And you I'm here. Okay. So, no, it's strange because, for example, right now, what is it? They're 3 or 4 weeks into building a number of the mazes now.
Right.
It's
not that far away, is it?
Yeah, and what's weird is that when you talk with these guys, when they're constructing the mazes, they're already knee-deep in Christmas. It's just, they're always thinking 5 moves ahead, which again, coming full circle water. It's like, okay, if we spend that money, does that mean we can't do the Avatar attraction? Does that mean that we won't be able to be, aggressive and go after Peter Jackson and, the properties there? I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons I really applaud you guys for doing a podcast about Universal Orlando and this resort, because I think it's honestly one of the most underreported things for, never mind Central Florida tourism, just tourism in general. These guys literally are a major player, particularly now.
Yeah, more so now than ever.
Yeah, and what you guys literally are it. This is like building a McDonald's on a really good corner.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's just hey, you want? We're the only one. Come here.
Yeah. Well, we love Orlando. We're absolutely passionate about the place. Universal's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no! And they're such a smart bunch of guys. Not to sing. There's a lot of former Imagineers that walked out the door and ended up there, like Mike West, the guy who rode herd on the Simpsons ride, and again, long time Imagineer. In fact, it remind me at some point we'll have to do another show about the Simpsons ride, because just for example, you understand that that's not the real story. That, for example, the original story, the reason that Maggie gets big is that you weren't supposed to go to Krusty Land. You were supposed to be visiting the plant with Mr. Burns.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, what comes down to is that they couldn't close the deal. Everybody else was like, oh, sure. All right, yeah, I'll do that. Harry Shearer wanted so much money that they were like, oh, crap. And they had to come up with a brand new story 8 or 9 months into the development of the attraction because Harry Shearer wouldn't record, the stuff. But again, the giant mutant baby came from, the nuclear power plant that you were supposed to be there for the open house, not Krusty Land.
Right.
But again, there are all these wonderful stories associated with that, and there's all these talented people who had spent years working in the bureaucracy of Disney, where you had to run everything by 15 vice presidents and get corporate sponsors, and just to get anything done. And we're at Universal, it's like, that's a great idea, let's build that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it happens.
We find it strange that we know so many people from the UK who go over to Orlando, and for us, we go 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and I know people who've never been to Universal, and I just don't get how they can spend 2 weeks on Disney property. Don't get me wrong, I love Disney, but
I totally agree.
No,
it's one of these things where it's like, I don't know, sometimes I worry that that's kind of an issue of my job. When you cover the Disney company and it's what you do 24/7,
yeah,
it's as opposed to, oh boy, I get to go to the candy store. It's like you live in the candy store.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh great, chocolate again. I just, the whole notion of going down to Disney for 2 weeks, it's just sort of like, You could do that or the root canal. And it's just sort of like, well, how painful will the root canal be? Whereas Universal, I don't know. It's just that I will tell you this much, that Disney is a lot more frightened about Harry Potter than they ever really want to admit, but not for the reasons you'd think.
Right.
Basically, and it actually has a lot to do with what you just talked about, that how the Brits will come over and vacation in Orlando, that they'll rent the house out in Davenport and stay for 2, 3, 4 weeks. What they found is where the old pattern used to be that, that the British family comes over, rents the house, and then their first stop is Disney, and they will do a couple of days at Disney, and then they'll do Universal, which meant that Disney always got the first bite of the apple. They always got the first hit in your wallet. You were always the first place you bought souvenirs, yada, yada, yada. Now, with the opening of the Wizarding World, Universal's in the first slot, particularly with the Brits. And Disney's kind of freaking out because it's like there's a perceptible dip in souvenir sales and food sales to folks who come over and vacation at Disney from the UK, that, because they've made the priority of going to Universal first, so they're spending their money there first, and they have less money to spend at Disney. So that's actually one of the reasons why Disney threw $300 million, well, actually $350 million at this Fantasyland expansion. Yeah. Which, again, the real irony of that whole situation is here's Disney spending twice as much as Universal spent on the Wizarding World, and it's going to be half the draw.
Yeah. They're still not. It's still aimed at two different audiences. The audience that are going to go to Harry Potter aren't the same audience that are going to go to Fantasyland.
No, you're absolutely right. And but the irony is that Disney's kind of convinced themselves that we'll build this and they'll show up and we'll make our money on the back of the Beauty and the Beast dinner experience, and they'll we'll root them out through the Snow White gift shop and they'll find work.
So do you think that Universal is going to learn from what Disney's doing with the Fantasyland expansion for when they decide to expand the Wizarding World?
I think, to be honest, that if anything, Universal's kind of just sort of snickering at why. Again, this is the first time that Disney has to play catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, remember that Universal had convinced itself when it opened Islands and it had such wonderful cutting edge rides like Spider-Man that Disney was going to have to play catch up. That was 2000, 99, 2000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the hard reality is that Disney sat there, looked at its attendance, and didn't see the dip. Didn't see, a significant hit coming from Universal. So all of the stuff they'd prepped. I mean, for example, Beastly Kingdom that was supposed to be added to Animal Kingdom. That never made it off of the drawing board because Disney didn't feel like it needed it. Much the same way that they were actually going to do an entire villain land that they were going to add to the Magic Kingdom. In fact, ironically, in much the same place that Fantasyland Forest is gone right now. They didn't have to, none of these ideas had to be broken out because they just didn't see the dip. And it was only after, I find it that there is no coincidence whatsoever that it was only after they lost JK. And to be honest, they kind of let her walk away because they thought she was kind of a pain in the ass. And more to the point, Disney was trying to convince themselves, sort of the sour grapes thing. It's like, the Harry Potter thing is going to blow itself out. And, it's not going to stay as popular as it is. And, we're okay to be rid of her. But as soon as she cut the deal with Universal and they saw the excitement that was building around that, it's not a coincidence that the Fantasyland Forest got pulled out. Yeah. And, it's set in motion. But as you said, it's a much different demographic. I mean, Harry Potter, there's a term they actually use in the film business. It's called, you want your film to have 4-quadrant appeal. You want it to appeal to, young kids, young boys, young girls, to older adults, older females, older males. And Fantasyland Forest really, to be honest, your daughter's going to love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Fair
we've
enough.
got a 6. When we're planning on going back over in a couple of years, and by that point, Jade will be
Almost
9-ish, and Raymond will be 13 or 14. And I know that we'll go to Disney and go to Fantasyland, and Jade will love it, and Raymond will be, it was okay. And we'll go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and the pair of them will absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, again, and that's the thing. Universal has done such a great job in the PR aspect. I mean, I think about it. Every 2 or 3 weeks, you're seeing some celebrity either standing in the middle of Wizarding World, or they're there with their cup of butter beer, or they've done an absolutely brilliant job of leveraging this. And again, that's one of the reasons why I'm just so thrilled that you guys have decided to take on this turf, because this is a great story. This park has a great history that nobody's talking about.
No,
it's such a shame as well.
Well, it's like a few. I know Pete Werner over at the Diz Unplugged, they started doing a Universal show once a month. They did about 2 and then stopped.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to. In fact, that's what's kind of ironic, that you guys are doing as good a job as you're doing, from so far away. But of course, Hunter's going to help out here.
He's helping out quite a lot.
We're certainly planning to put him to work.
Well, there you go. So, well, again, I'm sorry. We were supposed to have a nice little 20-minute long chat, and I think we've been at it for an hour now.
It's fine. It's fascinating. I could listen to you all day, Jim, to be quite honest.
Absolutely.
Well, let's tell you what. Well, why don't we'll close it out here, and we can circle. This is a park I personally love. Has lots of history, and again, I'd be happy to do just the Simpsons show.
That'd be wonderful.
Because there were so many great gags that are buried in, and again, just to, if you think about it, next time you're on the Simpsons ride, listen for Mr. Burns. He never talks. In the actual physical ride, you'll see the character speak in the film for the pre-show. But they wouldn't pay Harry Shearer, so none of the characters that Harry Shearer does voices for speak in The Simpsons.
I did not know that. Yeah, that's very interesting. It is.
So, but yeah, no, great stories there. Likewise, you can reach all the way. In fact, we'll tell you just one quick final story. And again, this is the one thing I wish Universal had been able to do. But I'm sure you may have heard about what they did when they closed King Kong, and to put in the Mummy. That, they held an event. They gave the fans, and this is what I think, again, key difference between Universal and Disney. That Disney, for example, how they botched the whole closing of Mr. Toad, and, ended up with, fans protesting, and, the day the ride closed, they actually had security in every room of the attraction, because they were terrified that crazies would get out and chain themselves to the the sets were pieces of plywood anyway, which would have been kind of
yeah.
I'm putting a handcuff on the statue of Mr. Oh, it's made out of fiber. But anyway, on the whereas Universal is like, look, we're closing Kong. We want to give everybody who wants to say goodbye to Kong an opportunity. They had an after-hours special event for them, and it engendered tremendous goodwill. But the thing of it is they were working on a cap gag for the evening, and they just weren't able to complete it in time. But it was such a charming idea that basically, so everybody, there's going to be an endpoint for the evening. Everybody's finished the ride, and please gather in the street next to the show building. We have something to show you. And what they were going to do is that once everybody was in place, they were going to start this amazing piece of silhouette animation where basically you were going to see the soundstage door open, and here's the silhouette of King Kong coming out of the attraction, and he does the standard, big arm, big yell, and then, clears his throat, and now he's just the average working Joe who, puts on his giant hat and, puts his, he throws his coat over his shoulder, and, and they were going to play, Frank Sinatra music. That's life as now he's, the ultimate swinger is walking off into the sunset.
Cool. Oh.
But it's going to be this great moment of, King Kong with hat slouched on his head and coat over his shoulder and, just humming Frank Sinatra as he walked off into the sunset or, off in the shadows.
Cool.
Friends showed me they did the dummy for the animation and they got going on the idea too late. They couldn't get it done in time, but it's just one of those great what ifs. But no, they're a fun bunch. They're a classy bunch. They make smart choices, which is, again, I'm just one of the reasons I'm so happy you guys are covering.
Yeah, well, no, just like there's I think we said there's 9,000 Disney podcasts.
Yep.
Yeah.
As it stands, there's currently 3 Universal.
The Universal McDonald's, and just hope that nobody builds the Universal Burger King across the street.
That's it.
Brilliant. Right.
We're enjoying doing it. It's good to know that people are enjoying what we do.
We are, yes. Thanks very much for coming on, Jim. It's been brilliant.
No. It's been great fun. And like I said, anytime you want to have me back to talk about it, we'll just try to keep the podcast under 12 hours.
All right.
So
we'll give you a call tomorrow then.
All right. Take care.
Right. Thanks now.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
So that's the end of another show. Thanks very much for listening. But before we finish up with the ways to keep in touch with the podcast, we've got a couple of emails to respond to.
Yep.
So, Tracy?
Right, the first one starts, wow, I finally found a podcast that's not about Disney.
Amen to that.
Yep.
Yay!
I live in Orlando and have had a Universal Pass for many years now, but I don't limit myself to just the 2 Universal parks, as I have a Platinum 2-year pass to all the former Anheuser-Busch parks in the US, which includes SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens Tampa. On your last podcast, y'all talked about the different parking choices at Universal. I myself have a Premier Pass, which only allows for free regular parking, which is just fine for me. I really don't like using the valet service, as the thought of someone else driving my car isn't quite appealing to me.
I agree with that
Absolutely,
completely.
Yes.
Even if it was a hire car, I wouldn't be happy about it.
No. I see it as too much of an opportunity for someone to grab something in your car that may be in sight of the valet driver. Being that I'm a Platinum Pass holder at SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens does allow me to park free in the preferred spots near the front gate at those parks, which means I don't have to wait for a tram to go to the regular parking lots or walk a considerable distance. I've heard that Universal does have a preferred parking, but I don't know quite where that lot is, and I can't really imagine getting much closer than the parking garages are now. Keep up the good work. Sincerely, Brian, aka the Coaster Junkie.
Thanks very much for that, Brian. It's a little bit more info on the whole parking thing that we discussed the other week. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't like somebody else driving my car. I don't care who it is.
No, I don't like other people touching my things. Full stop.
I don't want it. To be honest, it's people are funny about the cars, aren't they? But where, Hunter, do you know where the preferred parking spots are?
I have no idea.
Because they surely can't be that much closer.
Didn't they just move something with the parking because they're doing the mini golf construction though?
No, I don't think they've moved anything of it. Valet parking.
I thought it was the valet parking that got moved or something.
As far as I was aware, the valet parking's still where it was, but where the mini golf course is right next to it. I don't think they actually moved it.
I thought they moved it as well.
I might be wrong, but that's what I heard. But yep, thanks very much.
So I don't know. The parking garages, a lot of people complain that about Universal, a long day at the parks, and then you have to go through this endless, gigantic concrete structure to get to your car.
But wait,
I think the closest that you can get is by doing. If it's available, the closest that you actually get to actually entering City Walk is by taking, guest drop off.
Right. So we had this conversation with Tim, didn't we, when we did the Fanboys show? That was your one thing you'd like to change about the parks is make the bloody car parks closer. And he actually got the map up and had a look, didn't he? And he said there's physically no way you could make them closer. It's just unlike Disney where they had all that land, Universal only had a small amount of land, and because it was across a road and stuff like that, they had to do it the way they do it. But it's exciting in the morning. I like doing it first thing in the morning, but you're right, last thing on the night, who wants to do that?
So I got a question.
Uh-huh.
When it was just Universal Studios, the original park, and this was before, City Walk wasn't around when the park was created, correct?
I assume so.
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
No, I assume it wasn't, sorry. Yeah. I
okay,
assumed.
so have those parking garages been there since the inception of the park?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Or were they where, maybe City Walk was at one point?
Maybe.
I'm sure now the listeners are wondering as well, so I think we need to find out.
Yes, or if anybody out there knows, drop us an email, yeah.
Save us a job.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Well, I know we've got listeners that are real old school Universal fans, so I'm sure someone will be able to. If not, I'm sure Jim knows.
I was just going to say, I think one person who probably knows.
Brilliant. But then Brian also sent us another email.
He did. And he said, on your last podcast, I heard someone say there's an empty field at Universal Orlando Resort, and that they could use it to build a Potter-themed hotel. Here's what I know. Many months ago, Universal let it slip that they will probably be ending their partnership with the Wet n Wild Water Park on International Drive, as the water park's lease with the landowners is due to expire in the next few years. Universal Orlando said they're also looking into the possibility of building their own water park in the near future. I'm thinking that the empty field may be the future water park site, should they decide to build it. Thanks, Brian.
Now he's referring to, I think it was Brett on the Fanboys show, we were talking about that. Now, before we discuss the water park thing there, we got a second email from our good friend Paul. So, Hunter, would you like to read that for us?
Okay. Hello, unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. This is Paul from the USA, and I wanted to share a new topic, which is about the rumors. By the way, it's great to hear that another co-host, Hunter, has joined the show. Having Hunter, on the show brings a lot since he is very close to the park and can help in bringing the daily 411 on how the parks are doing. Anyway, on to my topic suggestion, which involves the rumored water park. You probably have heard or read from other sites that Universal Orlando is looking to bring a water park on site in the future. Many sites report that Universal will not renew their contract with Wet n Wild Orlando, as plans are to bring a water park to the Universal Orlando Resort on site. Furthermore, Universal Studios has taken out a trademark that can be looked up officially called Wondersea Island. It's been a rumor now that this trademark is the name for the Universal Orlando Water Park. The land that is being planned for this water park is just above the Royal Pacific Resort Hotel. While supposedly that empty land was sold to a Georgia developer, Universal has plans to buy back the land and make way for the rumored water park. So what do you guys think about this rumor? With the money Universal is making on Harry Potter, the final movie being an outstanding hit, making it a sure bet that Wizarding World of Harry Potter will get its expansion, Universal seems to have a lot of cash flow flux to bring a water park to their on-site area. It seems that having a water park on site could be the 1-2-3 punch Universal will need in having guests stay on site. You'll have 2 theme parks, 3 top-level resort hotels, City Walk, and a water park all within walking distance. Think about the amount of convenience. The only thing guests would ask for is some sort of people mover system or more boat shuttles. Most likely, this rumor of a watery park will probably happen. For me, I was kind of hoping for a third theme park to be added to Universal rather than a water park, because there is still a lot of movies and TV show IPs left to do, but having a water park isn't that bad. One thing you can talk about on your podcast is Wet n Wild Orlando, which has a deal with Universal Orlando Resort, where guests can book tickets and have discounts with Wet n Wild Water Park since it's officially part of the Universal Orlando Resort at the moment. Well, great job on the podcast, pulling for you guys and hoping for the best. Also, you guys forgot Universal Japan. The park was in the news since it's about to expand their park with Universal Wonderland, which is a mega family area for the park. Also, it's the only Universal park that still has Back to the Future for now. This is one park I really want to visit next to Disney Sea. And don't forget newly announced Universal South Korea, which is being hailed as the biggest Universal park of them all, according to plans. Comic-Con 2011 showed off new footage of the Transformer ride for Universal Hollywood, which looks awesome. And yes, tell your wife she's cool and having an exotic accent is fun to listen to. I'm not married.
You.
Well, thank you for
Right, so
cool.
the water
I
park.
presume that's addressed to you.
I would hope so.
Oh, yeah, you've just read it out. I've realised, your wife, hang on.
Well, that's okay.
Yes, cheers.
If you don't treat me right.
Right.
Oh.
Aww.
Paul, you've mentioned about us discussing the other parks. We've said before, it's not something that we're looking at covering
not to
really,
expand.
but you never know. It might be.
Anything of interest we will mention in passing.
Well, I actually heard about this mega family area, which is going to have Sesame Street and Hello Kitty, and I can't remember what the other one was. Do you happen to remember?
No, to be honest, I haven't seen anything about it. Although, not from this specific...
Oh, it's also got the Peanuts characters.
Yes.
That's who it was.
Oh, we watched the thing.
Yeah.
The Peanuts have been there for a while. We watched the thing about it on TV a couple of weeks ago. But I did happen to see a bootleg copy of the Transformers ride, like the trailer for it on YouTube, which looks pretty cool.
Well, it's going to be opening up in Singapore in a few months, actually, so we'll be able to read the reviews about that before it comes over to Hollywood next year.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the main topic that this was bringing up, and that was the water park.
Yes.
I'd heard the rumour that Universal were wanting to put their own water park in for a long, long time.
It's quite an old rumour, isn't it?
It is. And
it makes sense. They're really stepping it up to like what Disney's done.
They're really trying to make an all-encompassing resort.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They're just now starting on these mini golf courses.
Yeah, the 2 mini golf courses. Like you said,
you got your downtown Disney area with City Walk.
Yep.
You got your 3 major hotels.
Yep.
You got the 2 theme parks.
Yep. With the biggest draw in Orlando at the moment.
Yep.
You add a water park. I mean, that's like a 5-day, maybe.
Easily.
5 days staying on Universal Orlando property.
Brits would spend longer, I feel. For that whole...
It's about time.
Whole kit and caboodle.
But they've realised now that they've got Disney running scared, and now they're trying to keep people. They want people to go more than they realise people are going for the Wizarding World. Now, how can we keep them here?
I think it's very savvy of them.
World.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that too.
That's going to. I mean, people who have already been, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
To see that expansion, and if they have all this other stuff open by the time the expansion's up, that's even more reason to stay on property.
Does anybody know when the contract with Wet n Wild is supposed to be finished?
No, I don't.
It's they've been putting a lot of theming into, just the mini golf courses and stuff. So it makes me interested to see how they would theme an entire water park.
Yes. What would they theme it to?
Sticking with the B movies. Whoa.
But if you go by what that trademark, which is if they have actually put that trademark in, which it seems, well, I actually went. Paul sent us the link and I went and checked it out. So it is, that trademark is there.
Yeah.
Wonder Sea Island. It's got to be a water park really name, isn't it? But they've sort of named it Island to go in with Islands of Adventure. It'd be very interesting.
Well, what I definitely see a bit of a kind of port of entry sort of area in this water park if they're sticking with that name, which is kind of like, the old abandoned, not abandoned, but, the mercantile town area.
Yeah. Like a Lost Continent, they could do it like a Lost Continent theme. People, if that's going from all the rumours that we've heard, that's going. That would go quite well. The whole Poseidon, Mystic Fountain, Sinbad thing would work quite well as a water park theme, and it would appease everyone who likes that area in the park.
It would be a good compromise. I agree with you.
Yeah. Now we'd have plenty of props there to fill it out.
Put the Mystic Fountain in there at the entrance would be cool.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you've said all day.
I love the Mystic Fountain though. We discussed it ages ago. We'd be gutted if it wasn't
Even though it got me, and I don't like wet feet, and it
Jade
got me in the
funniest
foot.
one. We sent Jade up and it squirted it straight slap bang in the nose.
It's gonna go if they expand.
Oh, it's such a shame.
I think they could move it to Port of Entry though.
Yeah,
I think they should move it because it's a very popular thing.
It is.
Well, it's kind of like one of those hidden gems thing. I mean, a lot of people walk by it, but the kids love it.
We love it.
And it's one of those things that's in a place where you can just sit back, enjoy what's going on with the kids and other people who are having these conversations, but it's a place to chill out as well.
Not really as much anymore.
Really?
Because it's right next to where the Hogsmeade Gate is.
That's a shame. Right, it needs moving.
Right.
Get it moved, people.
Brilliant. So, thanks, Paul. Some really good information again.
Yeah. And thanks, Cool.
Yeah. And your exotic accent.
Yeah. I've never been called exotic before.
That's very strange.
A northeast lass.
Right, also, I just wanted to thank Barry Gornell our one and a half fan, as we
Yes.
announced him last week, for letting us know that when him and his wife Nicola went to Universal Studios last, and I can't remember when it was, I don't know whether it was either this year or the back end of last year, he posted on our Facebook page that Richter's do a vegetarian burger known as the Garden Burger, and I do believe it's called the Fault Line.
Right.
Which is a cool name for it, and Nicholas said it was yum. So cheers guys for that and letting us know, and that's going to do it for another show. Our next one will be out on the 19th of August. So Tracy, thanks for blessing us with your presence.
I'm going to be nice to Hunter this time and not steal his line. So, anytime.
Hunter, thanks for joining us live from Florida.
The weather has calmed down.
See, I could have stolen his line.
So it's see you from me.
Catch you next time.
See you next time.
That does it for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Between shows, we'd love for you to get in touch. So email us with your spews, funny schmitz, comments, questions, and news to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Keep up with what's going on every day by following us on Twitter at UUOPodcast, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/UUOPodcast, follow us on Instagram and Pinterest at UUOPodcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/UUOPodcast, and don't miss a show by subscribing to us on iTunes, and please leave us a review. Not an Apple user? Then head over to uuopodcast.libsyn.com and subscribe to the feed while you're there. You can also find us on Stitcher Radio and at micepod.com. Come find us on our partner site, micechat.com, join the forums, and say hello. So thanks for listening, and remember, be adventurous.
This has been a micepod.com presentation.
Mice Chat.